Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 24th to the 30th of March 2025. So we're coming out of the spring equinox. The sun is now in Aries and we start a new solar cycle. The sign of Aries represents the sun rising in the east, the springtime, a time of rebirth and dynamic activity. But yet we have Mercury and Venus still retrograde in Aries, and they're both going to go back into Pisces, as we've spoken about in the last few weeks. So we're not quite in forward motion yet. By the 27th, we have Venus moving into Pisces and meeting with Neptune. Now, the big story of the spring is Neptune crossing over the equinox point into Aries on the 31st. So this week is very much preparation for that. There's been lots of toings and froings and a lot of nebulous activity in Pisces, teaching us to use our intuition rather than try and think forwards with our mind. And Venus will pass back into Pisces, meet with Neptune, and then turn direct and meet again with Neptune at the beginning of May. So we have these stepping stones, really. This is very much a time of rebirth with the Sun and Neptune. But for now, this week, it's the retrograde Venus meeting with Neptune that is most important. So Venus has been retrograde between Pisces and Aries since late February. That was the first shadow, and we've been taught to really trust the wisdom of our heart, to clear out our emotional conditioning, to master our emotions and to become more sentient. And Neptune has a spiritual aspect to that as well. So Venus is the earth feminine, Neptune the divine feminine. Venus goes direct around the 13th of April, so that's our time phase for the actual Venus retro. But 1 week at a time, this meeting with Neptune, as Neptune gets ready to cross over in the other direction, is really something that we just need to sense and feel. It's going to be very subtle. And luckily this week there's a lot of space around. I'm looking at the charts and there's only squares and oppositions, difficult angles made by the moon as it transits through the signs. But every other planet is acting in harmony. So can we make some space to feel, to sense, to improve our psychic awareness, to listen, to observe, and to feel the magic that happens in the waters of Pisces? We won't really get this kind of energy again. We're being prepared in perfect timing for these new energies that come in from now till October. In October, Neptune dips back into Pisces, and then 2026 back into Aries again, so hovering over this sacred point. So we'll have time to get used to it. But the Venus retro will be able to really bring us the space and peace to be able to feel it and receive the sacred messages within the spaces. Then on the 29th, we have a partial solar eclipse at 9 degrees Aries. That's 10:57 a.m. UK time. Now, what's interesting about this is that both Mercury and Venus turned retrograde at 9 and 10 degrees Aries. So to actually have an eclipse, a new moon eclipse, at this point seems very relevant. But also, anybody that's born around the 30th or 31st of March, which is when Neptune goes into her new cycle, is actually born at 9 or 10 degrees Aries. So these are probably having profound influences on people born at that time, or if you have the moon at that time, or the rising, or anything significant around that point. So big uplifting changes. It's actually a real upgrade. There's a clarity, a purity, a singularity in Aries. I am number one, upright, upstanding, strong and dynamic. But with the planets straddling the equinox line, it feels like we've got 1 foot in the past and 1 foot in the future, which, as we spoke about last week, is the Pisces fish, one fishing looking backwards, the other one getting ready to leap over into a new cycle. Everything is hovering around this point at the moment. So the meditation for the next couple of weeks really is, where are we in ourselves straddling that line? Where's our past? Where's our future? Can we feel the balance between those? Do we know what we need to leave behind? Taking the seed of awareness forwards, but not all the emotional baggage. And do we know who we are in our unique individuality and what we stand for and what we're aiming for going forwards? So the time of stepping forwards is coming quite soon, but at the moment we've literally got 1 foot in each camp, and that would be a better meditation, clearing some space. That way we wouldn't be working from old goals, old mentalities, old responsibilities, old world views. We'll actually be able to apply ourselves to a very new system. So if you're Pisces or Aries, especially if you're born around the 30th or 31st of March, or have that equinox point or 9 degrees Aries point prolific in your chart, then really you won't get an opportunity like this again to tune into spiritual, emotional, mental and physical upgrade that these star alignments offer us. So if you would like to explore where this is in your chart, I'm available, zoehind7@gmail.com. We can have a look at what still needs to be cleared and realigning you to your true self for the most successful future. I include tarot as well and record MP3 for you to listen back to. I've also got courses in astrology, tarot, numerology, personal ritual making, moon cycles, home cleansing, and many other things. And I post these videos on my YouTube, Zoe Astro, Instagram, zoehind7, and Facebook, AstroZoe. So to recap, the last week of Neptune in Pisces, really finishing a cycle. And from next week until October, we'll get a feeling of what is it like to be aligned with Neptune in Aries. I was describing it last week like the Ace of Cups card, a clean vessel receiving higher frequencies. But before that happens, we've got Venus retrograding back into Pisces so that we can anchor that in our heart, and a new moon partial eclipse at 9 Aries, starting to light that fresh fire. But mainly 1 foot in each era as we let go of the old and make space, get ready to welcome the new with very simple charts, not much activity at all, on a challenging level. I would say maybe take the week out as much as you can, make the space, really learn to sense the frequencies, listen to what comes up, what you need to attend to, and make the necessary subtle changes, because fairly soon we'll have a whole host of planets in Aries, and we need to know who we are and where we're headed and why. So wishing you a recalibrating and reflective week, and I'll see you next week.